My family told me not to come to New Year's Eve because you just make everyone uncomfortable, Dad. So I spent New Year's alone in my house. But at exactly 12:01 a.m., my son called and said, "You humiliated us." My daughter screamed, "We're going to sue you for defamation." I had been silent for too long, but it was time for the truth to come out. Quick question before we continue. Where are you watching this from? Comment your location below. Because what happened to me that night, that phone call at 12:01, it changed everything. And I need to know this message is reaching people who need to hear it. I am Warren Pruitt, 59 years old. 3 days ago, my son called. His voice had that smooth, practiced quality, the tone he used with vendors he was letting go. "Dad, about New Year's Eve," Landon said. "It's really more of a professional networking event this year. High-stakes clients. You'd probably be more comfortable at home." I understood what he meant. At 59, I'd become an inconvenience, an embarrassment. "I see," I said. "I knew you'd understand." Relief flooded his voice. I hung up, sat in my kitchen in Edina, staring at the calendar. December 28th, 3 days until their perfect party. But to understand how I arrived here, how the son who once brought me his school projects now couldn't bear my presence, you need to go back. 4 years. 4 years ago, Patricia was alive. Sunday dinners meant Landon bringing ideas over pot roast. Isabel calling from Minneapolis. Little Abigail sprawled on the kitchen floor with crayons. "Grandpa, look," she'd say, holding up another drawing. "It's you and me and a dinosaur." Patricia would watch from the stove, that small smile playing at her lips. Later, when the kids had gone and the dishes were washed, she'd say, "You have a gift, Warren. That mind of yours. Don't let it gather dust." She was talking about my research, the algorithms I'd been developing for Hartwell Diagnostics, where I'd worked for 32 years. Patricia believed in it when corporate politics wore me down. Then came the diagnosis. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. She died 6 months later on a Tuesday morning in October, holding my hand. At the funeral, Abigail was 5. She stood beside me at the graveside, her small hand gripping mine. When they lowered the casket, she looked up with Patricia's eyes and asked, "Is she cold?" I couldn't answer. For the first few months, the kids called often. Grief pulls people together, even briefly. But slowly, the calls became shorter, less frequent. Landon started talking over me in meetings at Hartwell. "Dad's methods are solid, but we need to modernize." As if I were already retired, already irrelevant. Isabel's calls turned into texts. "Really busy, Dad. Can we talk later?" "Oh, later never came." I found myself alone in the Edina house more nights than not. Patricia's reading glasses still sat on her nightstand. I couldn't move them. Her garden outside grew wild. I didn't have the heart to tend it. When Patricia died, something in them died too. Or maybe it just revealed what was already there. Maybe without her as glue, we'd never really been a family. Just people living near each other, held together by her will. 2 years after I buried my wife, I had a breakthrough. March 2 in the morning, my home office lit only by computer glow and the desk lamp Patricia had given me 20 years ago. I'd been working on an algorithm for months, artificial intelligence, to analyze diagnostic imaging. Not just to read scans, but to see patterns, to catch diseases early. Diseases that killed people before doctors knew what to look for. Diseases like the one that took Patricia. The code clicked into place. I sat back staring at the screen. Patricia's photo watched from the corner of my desk. Her smile forever 47. "This is it," I whispered. "This is what you believed I could do." For the first time in 2 years, I felt something other than hollow ache. I felt purpose. I reached for my phone, called Landon. Late, but this couldn't wait. "Dad, it's 2 in the morning," he answered groggy. "I know, but I've had a breakthrough. A real one. This algorithm, it could save thousands of lives." Pause. His voice sharpened. "Tell me more." I did. I told him everything. I had no idea that this algorithm, born from grief and late nights and desperate hope, would cost me everything I had left. That call with Landon, the one at 2 in the morning, changed everything. This algorithm could save thousands of lives. I had no idea it would cost me my family. The breakthrough was real, but it needed validation. I reached out to Dr. Beverly Houghton at the University of Minnesota. We'd crossed paths at conferences over the years. Her work on neural networks was brilliant, meticulous. We met at a coffee shop near campus on a gray March afternoon. I walked her through my framework on my laptop. She studied the code for 10 minutes without speaking. Finally, she sat back. Warren, this is exceptional. Career-defining. She stirred her coffee eyes sharp. But I need you to hear this. File the patent before you tell anyone. Before you bring it to Hartwell. She paused. Before you tell your family. My family. Intellectual property disputes destroy relationships faster than infidelity. I've seen brilliant work claimed by people who contributed nothing. File first. Protect yourself first. Duncan Prescott's office was downtown Minneapolis. All glass and steel. He specialized in IP law for tech startups. This is solid, he said, reviewing my documentation. We'll file a full patent application. If anyone tries to claim they developed something similar, we'll have a paper trail even the best lawyers can't break. The patent was filed March 15th, 2022. Every line of code time-stamped and legally mine. I didn't plan to need it. I just wanted insurance. April came with Landon's call. Dad Hartwell's in a tough spot. We need innovation to get investors excited again. His voice had that energized quality. I know you've been working on diagnostic stuff. Can you consult on strategy? It felt good to be asked, to be valued. We met at Hartwell's Rochester headquarters. Landon outlined where the company was bleeding money, where the market was heading. We need to pivot. AI-driven diagnostics, that's the future. I explained concepts, frameworks for pattern recognition, how neural networks could be trained on imaging data. Not the full algorithm, I wasn't stupid, but enough to show the potential. Landon took notes enthusiastically. This could save the company. 2 months later, he invited me to an investor pitch in Minneapolis. I sat in the back leather chairs, mahogany tablemen in expensive suits. Landon stood at the front, polished and confident. Hartwell Diagnostics is pioneering the integration of artificial intelligence into our diagnostic platforms. He said, clicking through slides I'd never seen. We're positioned to revolutionize early disease detection. My frameworks, my concepts, presented as Hartwell's innovation. One investor glanced back at me. And you are... That's my father, Landon said smoothly. Warren founded the company. He's been helping with some technical groundwork. Helping. Like I was his assistant. After the meeting, Landon handed me a document. Just a standard NDA, to protect what we're building. I read it. Non-disclosure agreement covering proprietary information related to Hartwell Diagnostics. I took it to Duncan. This pertains to their existing proprietary information, he said. It doesn't extend to your independent work. Your patent predates this. You're safe to sign. I signed. Because I still needed to believe that we were building something together. That helping with technical groundwork was just Landon managing investor perception. That family meant something more than ownership stakes and slide decks. Over the next year, I watched my work become his accomplishment, and I said nothing. The Thanksgiving table was set for 30, but there was no place for me. I don't mean literally. There was a chair, end of the table near the kitchen. But when your son seats venture capitalists and board members closer to the centerpiece than he seats you, the message is clear. Landon's penthouse overlooked downtown Minneapolis. Floor-to-ceiling windows, catered hors d'oeuvres, a bartender mixing craft cocktail. This wasn't the Thanksgiving I remembered. Patricia's pot roast, mismatched chairs, Abigail coloring at the kids' table. This was a networking event with turkey. Isabel worked the room like a politician. When someone asked about Hartwell's origins, she smiled. Our father, he founded Hartwell years ago, back when diagnostics was all analog. Years ago, as if I were a relic, as if 32 years of work could be summarized as analog. Landon stood at the head of the table, wine glass raised. I want to thank everyone for believing in our vision. The innovations we're leading in AI-driven diagnostics are going to change healthcare. Our vision, our innovations. I watched him describe my algorithm, the one I'd filed a patent for 8 months earlier, as if it had emerged from a boardroom brainstorming session. A woman in a tailored suit turned to me. Mr. Pruitt, you must be so proud. What's it like watching your son take the company into the future? Before I could answer, Landon cut in. Dad's methods were very traditional. We've modernized the approach, brought in younger talent, faster processes. He smiled. The room smiled with him. I was 59 years old, and my son had just called me obsolete, in front of 30 people. Abigail tugged my sleeve. 7 years old, Patricia's eyes. Grandpa, Why do you look sad? I left before dessert. 6 months later, Landon called. Come to the office. Not Dad. Not, can we talk? Just come to the office. The conference room in Rochester was all glass and steel. Landon sat at the head. Isabel beside him, laptop, open arms crossed. I took the chair across from them. It felt like a deposition. The company's struggling, Landon said. Investors are pulling back. We need the full algorithm, all of it. I kept my voice steady. I gave you the framework. The rest is mine. Dad. Isabel's tone was sharp, impatient. You signed an NDA. Everything you worked on while consulting for Hartwell belongs to Hartwell. The NDA covers proprietary information I was exposed to, not my independent work, not my patent. Landon leaned forward. We're family. You built this company. Don't you want to see it succeed? I do. That's why I'm protecting the work. His jaw tightened. Family doesn't sue family. I stood. My hands were shaking, but my voice wasn't. Family doesn't steal from family either. Isabel's face flushed. You're being unreasonable. I walked out. I made it to my car before I realized my phone had been recording the entire conversation. Minnesota's a one-party consent state. I didn't need their permission. I drove home, and I started building my case. They'd given me a choice: disappear or fight back. They made a mistake. They assumed I'd disappear. They didn't just steal my work. They tried to erase me entirely. The first sign was the meetings. I'd spent 32 years at Hartwell. My name was on the original incorporation papers, but suddenly I wasn't copied on emails. Strategy sessions happened without me. When I asked Landon, he said, We're streamlining decision-making, Dad. Don't take it personally. Everything is personal when it's your life's work. Then came the dinners. Isabel's birthday in July, I found out from a photo on social media 3 days later. Landon's anniversary in August, same thing. They were still gathering, still celebrating. I just wasn't invited. The social media posts were worse. Team-building retreats, board dinners, company milestones, captions like, grateful for this incredible team, and surrounded by the people who matter most. I'd built Hartwell from a 2-room clinic in Rochester. Now I wasn't even in the frame. The hardest part was Abigail. Landon stopped bringing her by. When I called to ask why, he said, She's busy with school. We'll figure something out. We never did, but Abigail found a way. Drawings started arriving in the mail. Crayon portraits of the two of us. A house with 2 stick figures, labeled Grandpa plus me. No return address, but I knew. She was 8 now, old enough to understand something was wrong. Old enough to sneak envelopes into the mailbox. I taped every single drawing to my office wall. By September, I'd run out of space. Landon posted a photo online that month. Him, Isabel, and Abigail at a Twins game. Caption, My whole world. Abigail was smiling, holding a foam finger. She looked happy. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes before I realized I was crying. August. Russell Pemberton called. I didn't recognize the name at First Venture Capital, based in Minneapolis. He said, I think you should see this. He emailed me a pitch deck. 23 slides. Hartwell Diagnostics' proprietary AI framework. Except it wasn't Hartwell's. It was mine. Word for word, diagram for diagram. Landon had pitched it to 3 VC firms in August of 2023, 5 months after I'd filed my patent. I pulled up my patent filing. March 15th, 2022. I laid the documents side by side. Identical. I called Dr. Houghton. She came over that night, read through everything, and said, Warren, silence protects abusers, even when they're your children. That's when I stopped being quiet. September. Colin and Lauren, 2 researchers I'd mentored at the University of Minnesota, agreed to co-found a new company with me. We called it Neural Diagnostics. We filed for IPO in October. Target launch January 1st, 2025. Midnight. November. Amanda Grayson from Forbes reached out. Someone had tipped her off. Maybe Russell, maybe someone else. I met her at a coffee shop in Stillwater. Brought everything. Patents. Emails. Recordings from the June confrontation. Russell's pitch deck. Dr. Houghton's corroboration. Amanda took notes for 2 hours. Finally she looked up. This is going to be big. National coverage. But we'll embargo it until midnight on New Year's. Your family won't know until the whole world knows. I nodded. Good. She studied me. You're sure once this is public, there's no going back? They already took everything. I'm just taking the truth back. December came, and with it the final insult. I wasn't building a lawsuit, I was building a reckoning. The text came on December 3rd. Just immediate family this year. Isabel. No "Hi, Dad." No phone call. Just 8 words that erased me from Christmas. I stared at my phone for a long time before I typed back. I am your family. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, you know what I mean. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. I looked at the calendar on my kitchen wall. 22 days until Christmas. Last year was the first without Patricia. I'd hosted badly. Burned the ham, forgot the cranberry sauce, served store-bought rolls that tasted like cardboard. But Abigail had loved it. She'd made me a construction paper star for the tree, covered it in glitter that I was still finding in the carpet months later. Told me it was the best Christmas ever because Grandpa tried really hard. This year I wasn't invited. There was a drawing on my refrigerator. Abigail had mailed it in September. 3 stick figures under a triangle tree. Labels in careful second-grade handwriting, me plus Grandpa plus Christmas tree. She'd drawn it 4 months ago. Still hoping we'd be together? I took the drawing down, folded it carefully along the creases. Put it in my desk drawer with the others. 23 drawings now all hidden away like secrets. December 3rd to 27th. 24 days of watching from the outside. Landon posted photos online. Their company Christmas party at some downtown venue with champagne towers and string quartets. Grateful to celebrate with the people who make it all possible. Abigail was in one of the shots wearing a red velvet dress, holding a gingerbread cookie bigger than her hand. She looked older, taller. I hadn't seen her in person since June. I met with Duncan on the 14th. He'd reviewed everything one last time. Patents, emails, recordings, Russell's pitch deck, Dr. Houghton's affidavit. 247 pages of documentation. He closed his briefcase slowly and looked at me across his desk. Airtight, he said. I emailed Amanda on the 20th. Subject line, I'm ready. Body, publish it. 2 words. I stared at the send button for 5 full minutes, my finger hovering over the mouse before I clicked it. December 27th. Pete's Diner in Stillwater. The place smelled like coffee and bacon grease and 40 years of the same menu. Stanley Kowalski ordered the apple pie. I ordered coffee I didn't drink, just wrapped my hands around the mug for warmth. Stanley had been my friend for 30 years longer than my marriage, longer than Hartwell, longer than my children had been alive. He knew what I was about to do. He knew what it would cost. You sure you can live with the fallout? He asked quietly. I watched the steam rise from my cup curl in the cold air from the drafty window. Can I live with the silence? He didn't have an answer for that. Neither did I. December 28th. Landon called at 3 in the afternoon. Hey, Dad! Quick thing! He sounded distracted, like he was typing while he talked. Multitasking. Always multitasking. New Year's Eve is a client event this year. Big investors. We need everyone to be polished. Polished. Code for you don't fit. I wasn't polished. I was 59 and obsolete and an embarrassment at their networking party. I understand, I said. Great. We'll do something in January. Just us? Family dinner or something? Sure. Enjoy the party. He hung up. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't say, I love you. Didn't say I'm sorry. Just hung up. I walked through the house that night. Slow. 1 room at a time, like I was saying goodbye. The living room photos of Landon and Isabel as kids. Gap-toothed smiles and scraped knees in Little League uniforms. Landon's college graduation, Isabel's wedding, smiling faces I didn't recognize anymore. The office Abigail's drawings taped wall to wall, a gallery of crayon love. Bright suns and lopsided hearts and stick figure families. The bedroom Patricia's reading glasses still on the nightstand where she'd left them 4 years ago. I hadn't moved them, couldn't. The study my patent certificate in a simple black frame. March 15th, 2022. The day I'd protected my life's work from my own children. I stopped in front of Patricia's photo on my desk, taken in the garden summer of 2019. She was holding tomatoes laughing at something I'd said. I couldn't remember what anymore. I don't know if this is right, I told her, but I'm done being erased. The clock on the wall read 9:47 p.m. 3 days until the truth. December 31st, New Year's Eve, the last day of the lie. I had 17 minutes until midnight. 17 minutes to decide whether to destroy my family or save myself. Landon's party was happening across town. Some rooftop venue in downtown Minneapolis, champagne towers, string lights, a DJ. 300 people networking their way into the new year. I was in Adena, in the house Patricia and I bought in 1987. Lights off except for my laptop on the kitchen table. TV muted, showing Times Square. The house was quiet, but full of purpose. The Forbes article was ready. The IPO live, waiting for 12:01. Amanda had sent the preview link. The headline, Tech Founder Accuses Son of Stealing Patented AI Framework. My name, Landon's name. Patents, emails, recordings, all time-stamped and verified. One click to pull it back. One email, stop. 11:15. I put my cursor over the delete button. My hand shook. Was I fixing something or breaking more? I thought about Tyler, the young researcher at Hartwell, worried about his job, kid on the way. If Hartwell collapsed, what happened to him? To 240 employees who had nothing to do with Landon's lies? I almost stopped. Almost sent the email. I looked at Patricia's photo. She didn't have an answer. Just that smile, frozen in 2019, holding tomatoes in a garden that didn't exist anymore. 11:30. My phone buzzed. Landon! I almost didn't answer. Then I heard the voice. Small. Nervous. Grandpa. Abigail. My throat closed. Hey, sweetheart. I miss you. Her voice cracked. I wanted to call. To say Happy New Year. I wish I could hug you. I closed my eyes. Pressed the phone to my ear. I miss you too, baby. I made you a drawing. A big one. It's you and me at the park. Mom said I couldn't mail it, but I'm going to anyway when she's not looking. Background noise, music, voices, someone laughing. Then another voice, sharp. Abigail, who are you talking to? Celeste, Landon's wife, Abigail whispered fast. I have to go. I love you, Grandpa. I love you. The line went dead. I sat there, tears running down my face. She'd snuck away from a New Year's Eve party just to tell me she missed me. 11:43. I opened my email, typed 2 words to Amanda, publish it. I hit send. 11:59. The TV showed the ball dropping. 10, 9, 8. People cheering confetti at falling strangers kissing under champagne bubbles. Midnight, fireworks exploded. The year turned over. 2025. 12:01. My phone lit up. Emails, texts, notifications pouring in. The Forbes article was live. The IPO public. Neural diagnostics valued at $2.5 billion. The truth was out. 12:03. My phone rang. Landon, I answered. Dad, what the hell did you do? His voice was raw, panicked. The party was collapsing behind him. Music still playing, but people shouting now. I kept my voice steady. I documented the truth. You humiliated us on New Year's Eve in front of everyone. If the truth humiliates you, Landon, ask yourself why. Muffled sounds, shouting, then Isabel's voice, sharp and furious. We're going to sue you for defamation. You've destroyed us. Duncan reviewed everything. You don't have a case. You're a selfish, bitter old man. She spat. The line went dead. They'd hung up on me. I sat in the dark phone glowing in my hand. It was done. The truth was out. And there was no taking it back. By 1 a.m., my phone had 53 missed calls. By 2 a.m., 247 text messages. I'd stopped answering after Landon hung up on me, after Isabel called me a selfish old man, after I realized there was nothing left to say. The Forbes article was everywhere, top of their homepage, shared 20,000 times in the first hour. By morning, the hashtag was trending nationwide. Diagnostic justice. People I'd never met were picking sides, dissecting patents, calling for investigations. The internet doesn't sleep, and it doesn't forgive. Some of the messages were kind. Dr. Houghton. Brave. Patricia would be proud. Colin. Bloomberg wants an interview. Lauren Neural Diagnostics. IPO. Already at $2.7 billion. Strangers. You gave me courage. Thank you for proving patents matter. This is what integrity looks like. Others weren't. You destroyed your son out of spite. Family comes first? Always. Bitter old man who couldn't let his kids succeed. I turned my phone off at 3 a.m. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. January 2nd, 10th a.m. Landon held a press conference. I watched it live on my laptop, coffee going cold in my hand. He looked terrible. Tie crooked, eyes red and swollen, voice shaking. A reporter asked about the patent timeline. March 2022 versus August 2023. Landon stammered. Tried to pivot, said something about collaborative family development and shared intellectual property. Another reporter cut in. Mr. Pruitt, did you attempt to sell your father's algorithm to venture capital firms 5 months after he filed his patent? Landon froze, looked at someone off camera, then walked off the stage. The clip went viral by noon. 4 p.m. Hartwell's board of directors held an emergency meeting. Marilyn Buckley, the board chair, released a statement an hour later. Landon Pruitt suspended pending independent investigation. Effective immediately. January 3rd. Russell Pemberton sent his complete file to Forbes. Every email, every pitch deck, every investor meeting where Landon had tried to sell my algorithm as Hartwell's proprietary framework. Amanda published a follow-up piece. Son attempted to sell father's patented IP to multiple firms before claiming family ownership. It was worse than I'd thought, worse than I'd let myself believe. January 4th. Cleveland Clinic terminated their $18 million partnership with Hartwell Diagnostics. The press release cited ethical concerns and leadership instability. By market close, Hartwell's stock had dropped 31%. Trading was halted twice. That's when the messages from employees started coming in. Tyler Jameson, the young researcher who'd sent me a quiet note of support back in November. Mr. Pruitt, I have 2 kids and a mortgage. I know this isn't your fault, but I'm terrified. Half the lab is getting laid off. I sat at my kitchen table and read that message 5 times. I'd wanted justice, truth, accountability. I'd wanted my children to face what they'd done. But I hadn't wanted this. Hadn't wanted people like Tyler, good people who had nothing to do with Landon's lies, to lose their jobs because I chose to speak. I wrote him back immediately, offered a reference letter, gave him Collins and Lauren's contact information, told him Neural Diagnostics was hiring, told him I was sorry. But sorry doesn't pay rent. Sorry doesn't feed 2 kids. The damage was spreading far beyond Landon and Isabel, and I had to live with that. Victory tasted like ash when I thought about people losing their livelihoods because The text came at 2:47 in the morning. 3 words. Can we talk? Landon. I stared at my phone in the dark. The bedroom was cold. Patricia's reading glasses still sat on the nightstand untouched for 4 years. I didn't reply. January 10th became January 11th. More messages appeared. Dad, please. I need to talk to you. Just 5 minutes. I deleted them. Turned my phone face down, went about my day. Met with Colin and Lauren about Neural Diagnostics. Reviewed patent applications. Avoided thinking about my son. But the messages kept coming. On January 12th, my phone rang at 8 in the morning. I almost didn't answer. Then I thought about Abigail. What if something had happened to her? I picked up. Dad. Landon's voice was hoarse, like he'd been crying, or hadn't slept in days. Probably both. Thank you for answering. I didn't say anything. Just waited. I'm sorry. He paused. I don't know if that means anything to you. Why now? I kept my voice flat. Because you got caught. Because you lost everything. Both. He let out a shaky breath. But also because I finally see what I did to you. Not just the patent. The dinners, Christmas, New Year's, making you invisible. Treating you like you were obsolete. Silence. I could hear him breathing on the other end. I convinced myself I was saving the company, protecting the legacy. But I was destroying it, and I was destroying you. I closed my eyes. You didn't just steal my work, Landon. You erased me, made me disappear from my own life, from my own granddaughter's life. I know. His voice cracked. I know, and Dad, I don't know how to fix this. You can't fix it, I said quietly. You can only own it. What does that mean? It means if you want to make this right, you tell the truth. Publicly. Not because a lawyer told you to. Not because the board is watching. Because it's the truth. Long silence. Then they'll fire me permanently. The board, investors. I'll never work in this industry again. Then you have a choice to make, I said. The same choice you forced me to make. The line went quiet for so long, I thought he'd hung up. Then okay. Okay, what? I'll do it. I'll tell the truth. I didn't say, I'm proud of you. I didn't say, I forgive you. I just said, good. We hung up. 3 days later, January 15th, Landon posted a statement online. Public, professional network, personal account, everywhere. I read it on my laptop coffee going cold beside me. He'd written it himself, I could tell. No PR polish, no lawyer-approved language, just truth. He admitted everything. The pitch deck, the investor meetings, the attempt to claim my algorithm as Hartwell's proprietary work, the erasure, the humiliation. He took full responsibility, announced his resignation from all positions. Permanent, no conditions. The comments section exploded. Some supportive, some vicious. Too little too late. At least he owned it. PR stunt. Integrity is doing the right thing even when it costs you everything. I sat there for a long time staring at the screen. Then I sent Landon a private message. 4 words, it's a start. Not I forgive you. Not we're okay now. Just, it's a start. Healing doesn't look like reconciliation. It looks like boundaries. It looks like truth, without guarantees. I'd told the truth. Landon had admitted his lies, but that didn't mean we were family again. 1 year later, I spent New Year's Eve differently. I wasn't alone. February 2025. I gave the keynote at the Medical Innovation Conference in Chicago. Ageism in Tech. Intellectual property. Protection. Why documentation matters. I spoke about patents, about silence, about the cost of speaking up and staying quiet. When I finished, 2,000 people stood. Applause echoed off the walls. Messages poured in afterward. You gave me permission to stand up for myself. I'm filing my patent tomorrow. Thank you for proving age doesn't mean obsolete. I saved everyone. March. Neural Diagnostics announced a $60 million partnership with Cleveland Clinic. Dr. Clifford Manning called personally. This technology is going to save lives, Warren. That's what matters. Not the noise. Lives. He was right. April. Landon and I met for coffee. Stillwater Diner. Same place Stanley and I had sat 10 months earlier. We talked for an hour. It wasn't warm. It wasn't easy. But it was honest. He'd started therapy. Working with a startup in Boston, entry-level rebuilding, he asked about Abigail, asked if I'd be willing to see her. I said yes. Not for him. For her. Summer. Fall. Neural Diagnostics grew. Colin and Lauren hired 50 researchers. Tyler Jameson was one of them. He shook my hand in the hallway. Thank you. Just that. December 31st, 2025. 1 year later. I wasn't at a rooftop party in Minneapolis. I wasn't sitting alone in Adena staring at a laptop finger, hovering over a button that would change everything. I was at my house, but it was full. Colin, Lauren, Dr. Hooten, Stanley, Duncan, Amanda the Forbes journalist who'd taken my story seriously. We raised glasses at 11:58, 2 minutes to midnight. To second chances, Colin said. To truth? Lauren added. Stanley looked at me. To the family we choose. I looked around. These people saw me. Actually saw me. Not as outdated or embarrassing or dead weight. As Warren. As someone who mattered. A year ago I'd been alone. Uninvited. Invisible. Tonight I was surrounded. I'd lost my children. I'd found my voice. I'd lost my family. I'd found my people. Both things were true. Both hurt. Both healed. Midnight struck. Fireworks in the distance. Cheers on TV. We clinked glasses. I felt it. Not happiness exactly, but peace. The kind that comes from doing the right thing even when it costs everything. My phone buzzed. 12:14 a.m. Email notification. Subject, can I call you? Sender Abigail Pruitt. My hands shook. She'd created an email account. Typed it herself, probably with help. Hi, Grandpa. Dad said I could video call you if you want. Do you want to? I miss you. Love, Abigail. I stared at the screen. My throat tightened. I looked up. Everyone was watching. It's Abigail, I said quietly. She wants to call. Dr. Houghton smiled. Then call her back, Warren. I stepped into the next room. Opened the video app. Pressed her name. Heart pounding. The screen connected. There she was. 9 years old. Taller. Hair in braids. Patricia's eyes. Hi, Grandpa. I couldn't speak. Just looked at her. Hi, sweetheart. Dad said I could call you now, if you want to. I want to, I said, voice breaking. I really, really want to. She held up a drawing. Construction paper. Crayons. 2 stick figures under a tree. This is us at the park. Do you remember? I remembered. I remember, baby. Tell me about it. She talked and talked. I listened, smiling through tears. Healing doesn't have a timeline. It doesn't promise happy endings, but it starts with truth. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it starts with a video call from someone who never stopped loving you. Looking back, this grandpa's story isn't just about patents or betrayal. It's about what happens when you stay silent too long. Don't be like me. Don't wait until you're erased to start documenting. Don't convince yourself that family loyalty means accepting lies. God gave us the truth for a reason to protect us, to free us even when it hurts. I learned 3 things the hard way. First, document everything, every email, every conversation. Your work deserves protection, and God sees the truth even when others choose blindness. Second, set boundaries early. I waited too long. I let my children treat me as invisible because I feared losing them. I lost them anyway, but on their terms, not mine. Third, speak up. Silence doesn't keep peace. It just lets injustice grow. This true story cost me years with Abigail, years of recognition stolen. But God works in mysterious ways. Through pain, I found my voice. Through loss, I found my people. If you're reading this true story and see yourself, the parent dismissed the founder, overlooked the expert, told you're obsolete, hear me, you are not too old. You're not obsolete. Your contributions matter. Like many grandpa stories, mine is a warning. This true story proves that grandpa stories remind us integrity costs something, but silence costs more. Don't wait for a midnight reckoning to claim what's yours. Don't let fear keep you small. Now, I want to hear your story. Have you ever chosen between family peace and personal truth? Have you been made invisible by those who should see you most? Leave a comment below. Share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more true stories that remind us why speaking up matters, even when it costs everything. Your voice matters. Use it.